All right, we are live. Welcome to Three Buck Theater. Today is February 1st, 2018. Hard to believe we're already in the month of February. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out this month. Black Panther, 50 Shades Freed, Peter Rabbit, other movies that I can't really remember right now, but only one of those movies I listed is one that's worth seeing, probably. Uh, I want to, yeah, okay, we are live. I just want to make sure we are good there, because it's not showing me it's not showing me my information. So cool beans, we're up, we are ready to go, and that's fantastic because there's a lot to cover today. But ultimately, the way I look at today's news is like some good stuff and then ultimately some bad stuff. Like I'm not super happy to be talking about the whole situation involving the Black Panther stuff because it's so ridiculously stupid, right? Like, we'll get into it, but man, I just want to wait a minute for people to pop in. You heard Solo. Yeah, we're talking about Solo. Little bit about Solo. So that would be a good one. Just want to give everyone a couple minutes to jump in. So yeah, if you guys got questions, once I start rolling, I'm not going to stop. So, we'll wait probably about another 4 minutes. So if you got anything really quick to ask, I'll answer it. If not, hold till the end of the stream. Obviously super chats will be answered first, and then afterward we will get to the other commentary. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Hey, Slowdens, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. I love what I do. I feel very fortunate to be able to do what I do and to be able to do it daily. I like that quite a bit. I'm still operating on the schedule of trying to get around when my daughter feeds. So by the time I'm done with this, she will basically be ready to feed. So I'll have to jump off right away, but that's okay. That's all right. So yeah, what's going on? Black back at the classroom, MCOG, or you know what, man, you're here enough. Oh no, I can't do that. So yeah, last night was fun. The stream was fun. My 2-hour some odd stream covering a bunch of other stories. I realized on the stream last night, the mistake I made was like some of those stories were like way longer. I do okay even financially with the shorter videos over here. Like it's not like ideal. It's, you know, obviously if I do something that's like highly contentious, that will end up getting a bit more attention, but ultimately it's perfectly, you know, fine. You can't wait for Nintendo Land, Universal Studios Orlando. That's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty. I want to have a reason to go to Florida. Walt Disney World, I've never been, but I want to kind of do it all, you know. So I have to do that on a vacation whenever I can afford to do that again. So, Albert Albans, this is not a political stream, so I won't be answering any political questions about that. It's all more or less movie related, movie or entertainment related over here. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be answering. Han Solo TV spot on Sunday. See, that's maybe, we don't know. We'll have to wait till I get to the story in order to find that out. Cause, we don't know. Anything could happen. Orlando is awesome. I can't do humidity, but I really wanted to go to Walt Disney World and Harry Potter over there and do all that. So if I go to Orlando, I'll definitely take the family. I'll probably wait for my daughter to be a little bit older and then so she can remember it. Because the thing is, I can't take my kid to a theme park at this age. I don't get parents who, like, you know, have a 1-year-old and like, let's go spend $8,000 on a Disneyland trip. It's like they're not going to remember it. You're going to remember it. They're not going to remember it. So you're ultimately just wasting a third of that money. That's what I say about that. So, all right. Han Solo or Infinity War commercial, Super Bowl. I would argue an Infinity War commercial will be there. Definitely. Solo again. We're not talking about, it's going to be coming up. It's going to be coming up. Okay. So we're giving about 5 minutes. We got 47 people watching. That is pretty great. And I think we have time we can just start rolling here. So today, obviously, is the first of February 2018, and news is already coming down the pipeline. That's pretty big. February always feels like a slow month because we're coming out, like we're right at the tail end of award season. Everyone's looking at what's going on in Hollywood in terms of like what's going to be the best movie at the Oscars, and there's like, you know, Sundance just happened, and that kind of slows things down. But when it comes to dealing with stuff that is that's more like, you know, geek related, which I mean, I will fully admit that I cover a lot of geek related content. And that is because, for one, I'm interested in it. Two, there's an audience for it. And three, a lot of the other stuff is just kind of like you're only into it if you're into the industry, right? Like you don't really, most people watching this are going to sit there and not give a crap about, you know, like what the newest indie film is, what all this stuff is. And as a result of that, it makes talking about movies on YouTube from a growth perspective difficult. But the cool thing is that the news now is more or less just dominated by all this stuff, and so that always gives us something cool to talk about. So, like, you know, looking here at the title image, you got the Mario thing. We'll be covering that here in a second. But first, I want to talk about this group of DC fans plan to sabotage the Black Panther's Rotten Tomato score. And I, of course, obviously, first and foremost, I'm 100% against this thing happening. I am. And I am because I find it to be just a ridiculous, dumb waste of time. And the people who are obviously involved will hear me say this and probably reference me on Facebook, as they've done the last couple times I've referenced them. But ultimately, you know, I'm also kind of in favor of this only because I want Rotten Tomatoes prominence to be destroyed. I do. I'm not a Rotten Tomatoes fan. I don't like it. I feel as an aggregate site, it's definitely biased, as we've seen. It's you know, co-owned by Warner Brothers, or I think it's owned by Warner Brothers, or they have a stake in it or something. And other studios, you know, they use it as part of their marketing tactic. And I'm not a fan of that. And so ultimately, if you had to ask me whether or not we should keep Rotten Tomatoes open, no, destroy it, demolish it, tear it down. Well, in this case, you know, Control-Alt-Delete. But anyway, it says here, Black Panther hasn't even reached theaters yet, but a small group of infuriated DC fans have come together in an effort to make sure that the Marvel film receives a low audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not that they're DC fans. That's the thing I think people are mixing up here. They're trying to create a Marvel versus DC war. That's what they're ultimately trying to say. And a lot of these headlines and articles I've seen talk about this. But the people involved here, this Facebook group by the name of Down with Disney's Treatment of Franchises and Its Fanboys, has nothing to do ultimately with DC. A lot of this has to do with Star Wars. These are the same guys that are like down with Star Wars, you know, and the new movies because of how they took out the EU. It's like the same group of people. So I don't think it has anything to do with DC fanboys. But they're going to argue that as a way to keep spurring this war between the two groups, which is just ridiculous, because how many people who like DC movies go see Marvel and vice versa? We all kind of go see these movies. It's just, you might have a preference, but ultimately it's kind of dumb. Now, it says that it recently created an event on the social media site called Give Black Panther Rotten Audience Score on Rotten Tomatoes, that currently has 3.7 thousand participants, and an additional 1,800 people are interested in the event. Now, looking over here just at the Twitter account that they're referencing, this is the meme they're popping around. Give this rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes, hashtag DC over Marvel, hashtag bring down Disney, hashtag fuck Marvel Studios. Now, obviously, trying to use the DC over Marvel thing here is clearly going to be, it's a freaking red herring is all it is. They're trying to distract away. But you can see this is the group. 2,000 people are going. February 15th through the 24th. So the first week the film is up, obviously trying to get in there and really just downvote it, because the movie has gotten a lot of really rave reviews, or at least early reactions, I should say, from the people that went to the premiere the other night. And it looks like it's going to be a wonderful film. I've already got my IMAX tickets. My dad and I are going to go see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But this is just so stupid. So it says, given the massive success of the audience review rigging on Rotten Tomatoes site for Star Wars The Last Jedi, and due to the sudden rise in those disgruntled with Disney's business practices, among other factors, especially due to the corporate manipulations which created falsified bad press for the DCEU, I feel that it's time to strike back at all those under Disney and bring down the House of Mouse's actions for paying off the critics that hurt DC Comics on film and for other parties affected by them. Again, the DC stuff is a red herring. It's Listen to the look at the first part here. Okay, given the success of the audience review rigging on Rotten Tomatoes for Star Wars The Last Jedi, which was in fact put forward by a group of people, and they claim this, that they did not like how Disney destroyed the EU and everything else. Like, that is their primary function here. So they're realizing they're just trying to hurt Disney at this point. It's nothing to do with DC movies. It's you could almost, I mean, okay, like, to be fair, and I will be, I guess you could say, more objective or whatever, but to be fair here, the argument can be made in some cases that the outlets that champion Disney are outlets that tend to kind of crap on the DC movies. That has been seen. And whether or not you are in favor of that or whatever, it does appear to be a very large anti-DCEU bias when it comes from the movie blogging community. Look at how they've treated the fans trying to get the Zack Snyder cut. It can be a problem, and I understand that. But this again, total red herring. So the guy says, I'll be making events like this for Infinity War and the Netflix shows, etc., so we can rally together to truly make a difference. Share this with your friends and all potential sympathizers. So basically, a lot of people out there who are mad at Star Wars are going to try to be, called upon to damage this movie. And it says, P.S. if you want to spread spoilers to Marvel fanboys, use this event platform to inform us of targets. I don't like that at all, man. I'm not a fan of that at all. I don't care for that at all. Spoiling a movie for people who haven't seen it yet is it's a dick move. It is an entirely dick move, and it's completely pointless at this point. Like, what does it accomplish outside of making you feel better? And if you feel the need to spoil a movie for someone who hasn't seen it yet, then you're just a piece of shit. I don't think there's another way to describe it. Okay. Think about what they're doing here. Going after The Last Jedi's audience score was a way to protest the film. Now, there's a lot of bad about Star Wars The Last Jedi, but there was a couple good parts in it. And there's parts that I'm apathetic over, that I just gloss over when I think of the film. But ultimately, the fans were divided on it, but there was a lot of anger over it. And that anger is now making its way over to the MCU. While the parent company here obviously is Disney, and yes, Bob Iger and company, they do pull the strings. Why go after Black Panther? Like, Black Panther is going to do well. It's already exceeding ticket sales across the board. And all this is just going to do, look, here's the thing. All this whole thing is going to do is simply just make it so people don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes, or at least pay attention to the audience score. And ultimately, the audience score, I feel, is the more justifiable of the two. All right. Like, it's people who've seen the movie. I mean, well, you have no idea if they actually have seen the movie or whatever. Since it's not like Amazon, you can have verified purchase. But ultimately, it is people who more or less have seen the movie, and it's the fan reaction. And as we've seen, that I feel gives us a better objective viewpoint, or objective look at the overall quality of the film, rather than the movie bloggers or the film critics, who I feel at this point have become extremely cynical and bitter and angry at the film industry, and probably their own careers to an extent. And as a result of that, they end up kind of lashing out in certain ways. Or hell, who knows? Maybe Disney is in fact paying for them, and this is a way to sniff out the shills. Yeah, it's just, oh, Jesus. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can't believe this is a thing. No, the professional narcissist. I get it. I get it. You don't want to, you don't trust either score on RT. I understand. I do understand. I don't even know if Simone, I don't even know if CinemaScore is where it's at, right? I don't even know if CinemaScore ultimately is a valid way of looking at it. I understand why people like to rely on that, but the way I look at CinemaScore is ultimately Like, it's people as they come out of the movie. So they're already hyped up. They haven't had a chance to process or digest what they saw. And I think if CinemaScore conducted a poll where they got people to give them their contact information and then they went through one by one a day or two later and asked people what they thought, we would get a more valid CinemaScore out of it. So so it's yeah. But anyway, Mario! Yay, Mario! Nintendo officially announces a Super Mario movie from the Minions studio. Now, we've known this was coming. We knew that Nintendo was working with Illumination for an animated Mario movie, but we now have confirmation that it is, in fact, a go-ahead at the studio. So it says, in November, a rumor was reported that Nintendo was in talks with Universal about making an animated Super Mario movie with Illumination Entertainment. Tonight, Nintendo officially announced on Twitter that the movie is indeed happening, with iconic developer Shigeru Miyamoto on board as a producer. On an interesting note, though, the tweet specifically says it's a movie starring Mario, not a Mario movie. So it's possible that this will be something totally disconnected from proper Mario canon, which is absolutely the sort of weirdly protective thing Nintendo would do. Yeah, I mean, if you look at, let's say, the success of Mario plus Rabbids, that could be something, you know, that could be a thing. And also, I do believe that Universal has an overall deal with Ubisoft for their film products. I mean, Assassin's Creed was Universal. No, Assassin's Creed was 20th Century Fox, but I think the Division film starring Jake Gyllenhaal, if that's even going to happen, is going to Universal. I think Universal signed the deal with them. Anyway, the whole point there is if they want to do the Rayman and the Mario movie because of the success of Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle, that could be something. And because that's an interesting storyline, and it could be a movie starring Mario that's not necessarily a Mario movie. And a lot of people immediately think back to the 1993 movie, and you know what? I don't care. I love that damn movie. 25 years later, I love that damn movie. I've always wanted a sequel. I was so pissed at the end when we never got one because of that cliffhanger. And I understand that a lot of people out there don't like it, but man, oh man, I still do. Nostalgia runs deep with me. And so it says the tweet is the only information that we have, but part of the initial rumor was that Nintendo was only planning to make one movie instead of testing everyone's patience with an endless Mario saga or an entire Nintendo cinematic universe. But here's the thing. And I've talked about this before. A Nintendo cinematic universe ultimately is the way to go. It is. I've talked about this before, and I've said it, and I'll say it again. Having all roads lead to Super Smash Bros. Right? An animated Super Smash Bros. Movie would be freaking phenomenal. All right, it would be freaking phenomenal. You've got your Mario movie where it sets them up right as a possible contender. Okay, you've got your Peach movie, you got the animated Legend of Zelda movie, you got your Sonic, right? They want to bring in Sonic, I have no idea. You bring in Kirby, bring in Pikachu, you bring in who have all the other characters. Who cares? I don't even know anymore what characters are there. But you could do a cinematic movie with a Super Smash Bros. Competition. And I think given the popularity of Super Smash Brothers, I think if they told an interesting story, if they approach this from a cinematic universe perspective, we could in fact get something that is very, very, very interesting. And that would still fall in line with the Nintendo brand, and that it would still fall in line with what fans are going to be expecting for something like this. Now, if this is just a movie starring Mario and not a Mario movie, then, who knows? Who knows? Now, at the end of the article that I skipped over, they did mention like it'd be cool if they threw in a reference to the 1993 film, which I agree. That's, again, as I've said, I love that movie unironically. I will watch it anytime I can, and everything else. If they put that movie back in theaters for like a special engagement based upon like its 25th anniversary, I'm there. With bells on, am I there? But in the meantime, I'm gonna wait to see more from this. Illumination, I believe, is a good studio. I can't stand I love the Minions, but I'm not a big Despicable Me fan. I mean, 1 sucked, 2 was good. Minions movie sucked, and I haven't seen the 3rd one, but I've also heard that it sucked. So there's that. But Sing was really good. So, they're kind of hit or miss, but I'm still willing to give this one a shot. Oh yeah, whatever gets us a Metroid. Right, I totally spaced on the Metroid movie. Totally spaced on that. Yeah, Metroid would be good. Yeah, a Metroid. Give us a Metroid movie. Give us the key contenders of Smash. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. I think that would be utterly fantastic. So, Star Wars. Well, more importantly, or more honestly, Solo, a Star Wars story, is one that is shrouded in mystery and shrouded in his vest, so to speak. And people have been wanting to know more about this movie for quite some time, and as we get closer and closer to the release date of May 20th, there's still nothing really going on. However, what we see here is that the first Solo Star Wars story trailer debuts this Monday on Good Morning America. Now, this is an interesting story, and I want to be perfectly clear up front that it is still relatively a rumor. More likely to be true than not, but at this point, still just a rumor. Now, it says, well, it's time to put this one to rest. After a long wait, we finally have more or less official information on the arrival of the first trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story. Ticketing service IOTA revealed, or Leota, whatever it is, One Iota, I don't know, revealed in a listing for Monday's Good Morning America taping that the trailer would premiere during the broadcast. And it says here, GMA taping, live studio taping, plus Solo exclusive trailer. Now, that is enough to get people who are in the area very excited and wanting to come and be in the audience. Now, this follows countless rumors that the first look from footage, or at footage of the film, would air during the Super Bowl. What this put together with the GMA announcement seems to imply that the guys making Star Wars just heard is that a TV spot may still air during the big game, but the first full trailer won't debut immediately online, like with Mission Impossible Fallout and Skyscraper. And that is what they're saying right now. So the Solo trailer is supposed to premiere on there, right? So obviously that is something people are going to be looking at. But Jeremy Conrad here, aka Manabite, has said GMA's ticketing site has removed mention of the Solo trailer. Somebody got in trouble. You don't mess with Lucasfilm marketing, otherwise you're not a true fan. So, kind of snark and sarcasm aside, if GMA's ticketing site has already removed the mentioning of the Solo trailer, does that mean that this one right here was a screw up? Is it legit? Is it real? Was it someone hoping they were going to do it, but they weren't too sure what Disney was going to say yet, or if Disney was going to release it on, during the Super Bowl and whatnot? Now, we got this one over here from Discussing Film that says exclusive. We personally contacted Lucasfilm and can confirm that no footage for Solo, a Star Wars story will premiere during the Super Bowl, and the first trailer will premiere February 5th on Good Morning America. So this is now the rumor. This is now the thing, that the Solo trailer will premiere during Good Morning America. And who knows at this point? I don't know. We honestly won't know until the Super Bowl, which I don't know about you, but I'm not going to watch. I'll just wait for all the trailers to pop up online because I don't care about football. I'm, going to wait for that. And if we get something cool, but ultimately we probably would get a full trailer on Good Morning America. And it's not unlike Lucasfilm to do something like this. Back in 2008, right when they were getting ready to start pushing the marketing for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it was on February 13th, 2008, that Good Morning America ran the trailer for the movie. Right, they ran the trailer for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on the air that morning, and it was in theaters that very night. Because that very night, I went to go see a midnight screening of Diary of the Dead, and there was a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull trailer attached to it, which I thought was really crazy. They'd already got it, they threw it in front of it. It was awesome. So I have a feeling that's probably more accurate than not at this point. But as with everything else involving this movie, we literally just have to wait and see. But the closer it gets to a release, and no information, no promotional photos, no cast photos really come out, it still continues to kind of sow the seeds of distrust in the movie that Disney and Lucas have just already kind of written it off, and they are, just kind of releasing what they have to at the bare minimum in order to make sure that no one sees it. Or they just walk away from it. I don't know. I still feel at this point they're waiting. They're going to push it back to December. It just feels to me like that is probably the best course of action. But again, the 5th is only 4 days away, and that is not a long time to wait. And I don't know about you, but I'm still cautiously optimistic about my level of excitement for the movie. If the trailer's good, I'll be happy. If the trailer looks bad, I won't be happy. But look, I'm not gonna fight the inevitable here. I'm still gonna go see the damn movie. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. We'll have to wait and see what happens with all of that. So, yeah, good stuff, right? Good stuff there. Okay, so let's jump over a little bit more Star Wars news, but news that's interesting, because yesterday Anthony Serkis was talking about the fate of Snoke in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, there will be spoilers here, but at this point in time, I'm pretty sure you already know the spoilers, so I don't feel bad talking about them. The movie's also almost 2 months old, so at this point, I think general discussion of spoilers is perfectly fine. Now, it says here that unhappy that Supreme Leader Snoke was killed in The Last Jedi without being revealed as Darth Plagueis or some other ancient Sith Lord. Yeah, we feel your pain, but as we know now, Snoke isn't a Sith, and based on Rian Johnson's handling of the character, he doesn't matter all that much in the grand scheme of the new trilogy, or does he? Well, he matters in the way that he helped Kylo Ren to the dark side, or turn Kylo Ren to the dark side, and train him as an apprentice of the dark side. Beyond that, is he more significant, or will he remain in two pieces for J.J. Abrams' Episode 9? Now, while talking with Slash Film, Andy Serkis offered his thoughts about whether or not the villain would return in the next Star Wars entry to close out the current trilogy, saying, look, it's Star Wars, so you never know how life or whether life can can come back or not. Whether you can be resuscitated or brought back. I was shocked dramatically. I felt it was right for that moment in the film, so I didn't question it. I just think it's a very, very important scene, so I didn't question it. But I know that it's left fans feeling that they were really searching for something there, and what I'm saying is, who knows? So it's kind of a rambling answer to the question, obviously. But at the same time, well, right? I mean, let's kind of think about this for a second. Now, the events in Star Wars are ultimately cyclical. Time is, the kind of key events or key themes are cyclical. Things may change, but there's always been like the power of two, right? The master and the apprentice. In this case, Snoke was the master. Kylo was the apprentice. Snoke says in the movie that the darkness has risen to meet the light. So the balance is what he's referring to. And ultimately, he's trying to find Luke Skywalker because Luke was his balance. I think the only reason why Luke was able to die is because he knew Snoke was dead. I have a feeling that that's a deleted scene, or that's going to be in the novelization of the movie. It's going to be one of those little lines of dialogue or those internal thought bubbles that pop out where he's like, oh, damn, Snoke is dead. The biggest, blackest motherfucker in the galaxy is gone, man. I can finally die. Like, I have a feeling that's what they're going to try to argue in the book. Still lame, but whatever. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Snoke's going to come back. It only makes sense that he comes back, okay? Because while he may not be mentioned as a Sith, and the Sith was barely mentioned in the movie, this took a lot from the prequels. This movie was inspired more by the prequels than I think anything else ultimately, and that might play into it. So if what you've got is Snoke as a Sith, right? Or I don't know if he's Darth Plagueis. I don't know. Part of me wants him to be, because I figure if he is Darth Plagueis, then it would give that character, that entity, more weight. That story that Palpatine said. He's like, oh, I was his apprentice and I killed him. But he had learned to master death. So if he had learned to master death, who's to say he didn't, through the power of midichlorians, find a way back in? There's also been the speculation that he was, and this is interesting, that he was Anakin. That through the manipulation, that he spawned Anakin. There's been a theory of that for a while. And that would, look, at this point, with the flying Jedi through space, with the force projection, the doppelganger that can cause death from force exhaustion, if they all of a sudden brought back midichlorians, I would sit there and go, I've heard and seen worse in Star Wars movies than midichlorians, and maybe it just kind of seems to work in what they're trying to do. But he's not the only one that's invested in their character coming back or curious about what's going to happen. That also would be Gwendolyn Christie, who is basically here saying that she isn't sure about her character's fate and that it scares and upsets her because she really wanted to see the character explored. Going on to say, I'm actually very invested in the character now, and that's genuine. That's not just chat. It has opened up a chain of stories and events in my mind about who Phasma is. Now, we know that Phasma had her 2 minutes of screen time in The Last Jedi. Keep in mind, Disney spent all sorts of time building the character up. They gave her a comic book. They gave her a novel. They had tons of merchandise with Phasma on it back in 2015 and 2016. They were building up Phasma, only to have her show up here for a brief minute and then get like kind of booted. I mean, she's got to be this one with the new Boba Fett, right? That's kind of what you can take from that. And will she come back in the third film? Again, you know, events, I would assume yes at this point. I would assume that she has survived the explosion and she found a way to get out of there, and that's her whole deal. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of what happened in The Last Jedi, Luke, Snoke, Phasma, retconned into a more fantastical element. All right, like that's what I feel is going to happen here. And I feel that way because I think to save the franchise, at least right now, that is what you have to do. You can end the Skywalker saga by all means at the end of number 9, and you should end it. But it should be a proper, complete ending, not this what? And so I feel like Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams are going to work on the script in order to make it work like that. Now, Chris, like I've said before, Chris Terrio, you know, he came off of Argo, co-wrote Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I think, and Justice League too. So the guy's got, you know, he's got big budget, you know, chops in him and whatnot. And I think we'll be able to get some kind of conclusion out of this. But then again, and someone has said this to me before, it's J.J. Abrams, so the likelihood of an actual conclusion is slim to none. Seriously. I don't know. I feel like J.J. Abrams could probably fix what's broken. I think he could fix it a little bit. Keep your Marvel shit out of Star Wars. Probably. Oh, in the original treatment for Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine did create Anakin. Interesting. That's interesting. So that could be something. Yeah, again, I think we're going to get a lot of that. I think they're going to bring back midichlorians. I think they're going to bring back a lot of stuff, and they're just going to kind of like just they're going to, you know, they're going to piece it together like a Fast and Furious movie. You're like, "Oh, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it's better than the last one." So there's that. There's Abrams and Terrio are using Trevorrow's ideas. Interesting. Phasma equal done, Snoke done, don't marvel them. It's entirely possible that they are going to. It's insane that the movie has to be retconned. I agree with you, Maxime. Yeah. So, yeah, Shinyogo, I see your post, man. You don't need to spam it constantly. All right. I mentioned that earlier too. Cause you do that in the other stream as well. Yeah. You keep respamming the same questions. So I read it. If I don't answer it, I'm just not answering it right away, but you know, I can see it. So you can hold on until we get to that point. All right. Star Wars fanboys will accept anything. Probably. Oh, there's a super chat. I missed that one. I missed that one. Let me find it here. If I can find it, where the hell is it? Oh no, it's on the other one. It's on my other browser. Oh no, I didn't. No. Oh shit. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I had the wrong browser up on Chrome, so I gotta bring it up and see it, because I want to answer that real quick, and it's taking forever. Okay. Okay. So Jack here says for $5, many people rage on films for little to no reason. Movies are here to entertain. I agree, man. I agree that movies are definitely here to entertain. One of the biggest problems that come from it, though, is what people view as being entertaining to some is not for everybody. And I think it's one of those situations where there are expectations that do come into play, and sometimes that doesn't always work out well. But there's also, I think, a standard of storytelling that I understand that in the context of Star Wars, like they want to change, they want to deviate from, but you're never going to be able to get to get outside of the rule of three, at least in terms of trilogy and story act and things like that. The idea of Star Wars has always been, you know, very kind of structured hero's journey type stuff. And if we don't really have a good way of handling the characters, then it's just going to kind of go to crap. And I think it did. I just think it did a little bit. So let's no, okay, let's go to the next one here. So, Men in Black is a franchise that I've loved since the 90s when it came out. I know it was based like an old comic book or something. I never read the comic book, but I really enjoyed Barry Sonnenfeld's 1997 film. Even though if you go back and listen to Will Smith's titular song now, the lyrics are garbage, right? Like the Men in Black song is a great hook, but the the lyrics are crap. And Men in Black 3 from 2012 was not very good. The fact that it had to shut down production for 2 months for them to figure out the ending should not have happened. And now Sony is very much wanting to keep this stuff going. And I am not too sure how to feel about it, with the exception of being completely on board if F. Gary Gray actually signs on to direct. F. Gary Gray is a fantastic director. And the dude never gets the credit that he deserves, in my opinion. So it says here, F. Gary Gray is a choice to direct the Men in Black film that will relaunch the franchise for Sony and Amblin. Negotiations are underway towards a deal. Gray is enjoying a mid-career trajectory that began with Straight Outta Compton and then extended most recently to the third highest global grossing film of 2017, The Fate of the Furious. The film grossed $1.2 billion. Yeah. Yeah, here's a quick side thing with that. You know, Vin Diesel was like the highest paid actor in Hollywood in 2017. He was in like 2 movies, Guardians and Fast and Furious. I think that was what he was in. And yeah, a lot of money. So anyway, so the Men in Black has a script by Iron Man scribes Matt Holloway and Art Markham, and the studio greenlit the picture on their draft. The thing is, though, the Iron Man script was more of like a rough assembly of scenes that was kind of shambled together by a lot of ad-lib by Robert Downey Jr. and Jeff Bridges and the other characters or the other cast members. So I'm not going to look at that as being like this huge, big, insane thing. Not saying that they can't write and they didn't piece together a good story, but let's be fair, Iron Man pretty much was Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. The majority. So Sony, which is coming off a big hit in reviving the Jumanji franchise, is hungry for more, and the studio has set a June 14th, 2019 release date. Oh, wow. And Steven Spielberg is exec producing. So here's the thing. The Jumanji movie, I hear, is remarkably good. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list of things to see. I saw 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri instead of watching Jumanji because I wanted more of an adult film. But I've heard that it's really good. Kevin Hart and The Rock really work together well. And outside of that, what was that one they did? Central Intelligence, which was not very good. But I hear this one is good. And so it's also gone on to gross over, I think, 700. It's beat out Wonder Woman, I think. Like that's over $800 million worldwide. Jumanji has made a movie that no one asked for, and that when it was first announced, there was a lot of groaning over, like, oh god. But the movie's gone on to do very well. So Sony, knowing that they need to have a few more wins under their belt in order to maintain Sony Pictures, they are going to be very much going back to the well and trying to find the movies that do well for them. So Sony and Amblin have been trying to figure out the best way to relaunch the series since the original pairing of Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith ran its course in the 2012 third installment. The attempts included a spin-off film that would meld Sony's 21 Jump Street cast members Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill into an extraterrestrial spin-off. This film isn't that one. Rather, it is a spin-off grounded in the original premise of a covert force policing the alien population hiding in plain sight, the premise of the comic book series by Lowell Cunningham and Sandy Carruthers. Now, when they first mentioned 23 Jump Street / Men in Black, that came out of the Sony hack, I think, and that was one that had everyone going, huh? I'm sorry, come again? Like, what are you talking about here? And at the same time, I was like, you know what? I really enjoyed both 21 Jump Street movies, and I would love to see a third one to kind of complete the trilogy, even though it's been 4 years since that movie came out, and we've had no movement on anything, so it's probably never going to happen. But having those guys team up with the Men in Black is just like, you know what? Why not? At this point, just why not? You know what? I've seen weirder things. Just go ahead and give it to me. It could work. It could not. And, you know, if Sony ends up getting hurt, I'm fine with that. Neither Jones nor Smith are expected to be back. They'll relaunch the franchise with a new cast, much the way that Spielberg did with Jurassic World. And the thing is, though, Jurassic World did well enough to you know, of course, obviously, like $1.5 billion. It's warranting its own trilogy. And they're bringing back, you know, Ian Malcolm. And I'm pretty sure other people from the original franchise or the original films will make a cameo appearance as well. So what that tells me, essentially, is that, you know, they're kind of hoping that it does well enough to be able to then tie into the nostalgia factor and bring back Agent K, or, you know, Will Smith was Agent J, or maybe even Tommy Lee Jones is Agent K, Agent K, maybe Linda Fiorentino, wherever she ended up going, and maybe even bringing like some Rosario Dawson back, you know, find a way, or Johnny Knoxville's character, or whomever, you know what I mean? Like finding, or Patrick Warburton, bring back Patrick Warburton and something like that. They could find a way to tie it into the larger mythos that they're trying to create another franchise. But having a good architect at the beginning of that is going to be key. And F. Gary Gray is a good action director. He knows how to tell a fun, engaging theatrical experience. And as a result, I feel he probably would be good to launch this thing off. You know, and I'm excited to see more. I'm hoping we get to see more from this. I hope he actually comes on board to do it, because you know what? If we're rebooting everything else, I just would love there to be more of this. Of these kind of movies, rather than crappy horror films from Japan that kept getting remade all those years ago. At least this feels like it has some humor in it. And I mean, it's unfortunate that Barry Sonnenfeld won't be involved, because I felt like his touch on the first two films especially really helped kind of like establish it as being kind of Tim Burton light. But his work on a series of unfortunate events on Netflix has been grand, and I don't want to see him moved away from that at all. But in the meantime, we have a year and a half until the next Men in Black movie. What do you feel about that? I definitely want to know. What do you guys feel about that? Jones and Smith are too expensive. Smith is too expensive. Jones probably would do it. Let's see. Jack Barnard here says $5. Sony, we need to reinvent and innovate. Also, Sony, another MIB and a Sonic the Hedgehog live action movie. Yeah, but Sonic the Hedgehog is not going to be directed by Tim Miller of Deadpool, so that could be good. So there's definitely. Yeah, I still need to see Jumanji. So there's definitely that. I want to see Jumanji, and I really want to, I got to use my movie pass more often. I've only used it once, so I got to go check that out. We'll definitely do that. All right. So let's jump into the last story here. Machine learning, right? Something that the Terminator franchise has taught us to fear. In reality, it's given us something that is, so wonderful. Saying here, new face swap tech lets Nicolas Cage star in every movie. And I don't know about you, but I like it. I like it a lot. Look at him and Amy Adams' face. That's just, it worked out so well. Technology is really starting to get out of control, and a new deep learning tech is pushing the boundaries of Nicolas Cage and his acting abilities. Like a lot of tech that is developed and fine-tuned over the years, this deep learning software was first used in the pornographic realm. People with way too much time on their hands take female celebrities and basically copy-paste their faces onto X-rated videos with shocking accuracy. And now the very same technology is being used to put Nicolas Cage into any movie. It's always been said that the best way to innovate technology is to find a way to apply it to pornography, because sex always sells, for one, and people are always looking for something new to beat off to. I did see some of these. I didn't know. Okay, so this is the whole deep fakes thing going on right now, which I just learned about yesterday, essentially. But I'd seen some of the content. I just didn't know what it was. There's a commentator, or journalist, if you want to call her that, Lauren Southern, who I actually have known for a couple of years, and someone had put her face very much on some very interesting videos. And I ended up seeing that floating around out there. But the thing is, though, is that it requires a lot of very high def imaging in order to be able to make the machine learning algorithm work. And in the case of Lauren Southern, she shoots on a Canon 5D Mark III, which is a very, very, very nice camera producing a very nice image. And that is a camera that I'm actually saving up to get so I can then produce my videos in stunning, stunning, stunning visuals. Of course, it's a horrible idea because I'm a terrible looking person, but you know what? I go big or go home. Anyway, so it says here, Nicolas Cage is already one of the most famous memes, and that popularity just received a huge boost thanks to the deep learning software. People have been scanning a bunch of pictures of Cage's face onto a fake app, which is then able to map the actor's face to another face, imagining what it would look like through the deep learning technology. So what do we get? We get Nicolas Cage starring opposite Henry Cavill's Superman as Lois Lane. And we can take a look here. This is a clip. Just to see this famous scene from Man of Steel, Lois Lane and Superman meeting for the first time, and it's a good scene. It's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie. So how does it look? How does it look? Let's see. All right, he's checking her out. He's like, man, Lois Lane, you're kind of hot, right? Like, yeah, I would totally hook up with you. And then it's wow, that I mean, it's Amy Adams' lower half of the face, but Nicolas Cage's eyes, and I think nose, that is remarkably creepy. That is very well done, in my opinion. Very, very well done. But one of the things that makes it really work in this particular case, I think, is the color scheme. They're able to blend it really well. I think this one was done not with the fake app, but with another program. Because coming down over here, we can see some other GIFs and whatever of like Nicolas Cage in Indiana Jones, right? And Raiders Lost Ark. You can see his face. When it goes, it's just his eyes masked over Harrison Ford. So it doesn't look as good. It still kind of works. It does kind of trick your eyes into thinking that way, but that's really about it. Or you can come down here and check out the scene from Terminator, where he's playing the T-1000. So you can see his eyes right there, and it looks okay from that shot. But even right here, you can see, you know, they went back and they found his younger footage, obviously, and popped it in. But it doesn't work out entirely too well when they get into the close-up, right? Because you can see shot that guy. You can see right here that it doesn't work as well. And so going over here to this shot, it's more pulled back. It's not a close-up. They aren't trying to increase the size of it too much. It allows them a little bit more to play with in terms of the pixels. So either way, you can now basically create your favorite kind of pornography using this kind of technology. This technology will be very interesting down the road in order to create performances of celebrities who have maybe passed away, right? I mean, it's going to be able to create a lot of revenge porn at the same time. If I'm being fair here, it's going to create a lot of revenge porn, and that's going to end up being a problem. But, you know, this is remarkably good. And I'm very curious to see what comes out of it. I'm very curious to see if someone is going to be able to make a movie starring celebrities, like shoot their friends, like in enough, you know, like enough high definition, like on a red, like someone could get a red camera, shoot their feature film with their friends, and then use this type of stuff in order to make, to put in celebrities in order to then sell it. Because this looks good. It looks almost too good. And it's remarkably creepy. Because Nicolas Cage looks hot as Amy Adams, and it's giving me all sorts of weird feelings. Yeah, we'll get CGI Leia out of that thing. Absolutely. Absolutely, we'll get CGI Leia out of that. I do not disagree at all. That we'll end up getting that one. Okay, I did see that there were a couple super chats that came in. Another one from Pence of Ruin saying you'd love to see DC redo the Swamp Thing. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty tight. I like Swamp Thing quite a bit. I'd like to see what's going to happen with that. But in the same meantime, man, holy shit, that just cracked me up. It's scary. To be fair, it's so scary. Oh, but all right, so we got about 11 minutes left until we hit the top of the hour, and I do need to go feed my daughter. So if you guys got any final questions, go ahead, throw them in there. This is a bit of a shorter episode. Not a lot going on today. Not a lot movie-wise, but it will be good. Should there be as many waves in the Smash cinematic universe as a Smash? I don't know, Hypothesis. You're really into Super Smash and Pokemon, and I honestly, I don't know much about either. I think it'd be cool to see, because then it would be explained to me, and I don't know. I haven't played. My copy of Super Smash Bros. 4 is still sealed. At this point, I'm keeping it sealed, so then down the road, I can just sell it off for a higher profit. That technology will allow us to replace Rey with Luke. Nick Cage in 50 Shades. Yes, Curtis. Yes, I would definitely check that out. Classy Ulysses, I have not got to read the Justice League script. I saw that you sent it to me on Twitter, right? Can you actually submit that? mundanemat.com/submit, so I can just have it locked down. I get a lot of tweets, so if I miss something, I don't always get the chance to go back to look at it. Oh, I suffered through Rose on Colbert. Oh yeah, I watched Rose McGowan's interview on Stephen Colbert this morning, and it was weird, man. Super weird. Rose McGowan is an odd person. If you were asking me Sonic questions, I would just ban you. Disney's going through all these live actions and you're waiting for an announcement of Gargoyles. Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. I'm waiting for that too. That'd be good. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for a live action version of Gargoyles. Give me Keith David, man. That'd be great. I liked Gargoyles a lot. I would rather like a Chippendale or bring back Darkwing Duck. Give me a Darkwing Duck movie. Hell, give me a third Goofy movie, right? Like, I really loved a Goofy movie. It's one of my favorite movies when I was a teenager. I saw it like a bunch of times in theaters. I saw it a lot, and then I ended up seeing it. I had the soundtrack, rock the soundtrack a lot. I can still I still sing the songs. I was singing actually to my daughter the other day, singing her some of the tracks from that movie. So yeah, I would be totally on board with getting a Goofy movie. I think that'd be pretty fantastic. So what's this? What is the thing I'm looking forward to the most in Solo? I want to see the story of how he met Chewie. I think, like, because the Chewie Solo dynamic is so strong, like when Han died in Force Awakens and like Chewie just goes like, and I can't do it, but then he starts like gutting he uses his bolt caster to start taking out freaking stormtroopers. I was like, yeah, you get him, you get him, Chewie, right? Because I just rewatched The Force Awakens right before seeing The Last Jedi, and I was like, yeah, you go and you do that. So I really enjoyed it. So I want to see how that bond began. How the two BFFs throughout the universe and whatnot found each other and became buds. I also really want to see a lot with with Lando. So I've heard the rumors I've heard is that Donald Glover did a good job as Lando. You want a live action remake of the Black Cauldron, Atlantis, and Treasure Planet? Man, Treasure Planet was a financial flop for Disney. That movie just did not. That movie almost killed 2D animation for a long ass time, man. So did I ever hear about the change.org petition to replace the national anthem with the theme song from the first level of Sonic Adventure 2? Which is what was it? Sonic 3 that basically was just a Michael Jackson album remixed? Is that Sonic 3? A meet cute movie? No, we don't need a meet cute movie. We don't. So I don't. Yeah, we don't need a meet cute movie at all. I'm okay. We get enough of those in movies. I'm fine without actually getting it. So Solo's going to suck. We don't know that yet, Bjorn. We don't. It could not. We don't know. I'm going to hold out hope until I see a trailer. Ron Howard's a good director. So if anything, the movie will be serviceable. Serviceable. I'm okay with that. Imagine a Power Ranger cinematic universe with a big bad Beetleborgs and VR troopers. Well, the thing is, the Power Rangers was supposed to be a 6-film arc. They had 6 films in mind. And I actually really, really liked the Power Rangers movie. I thought it was I had a lot of fun with it. I loved the whole thing, and I am kind of bummed we're not going to get another one. Can we have a mundane Matt movie about your day to day? 10 years ago. Yeah. 10 years ago on my birthday, so next month, I started writing a blog. I kept a daily blog that was kind of my take on Kevin Smith's My Boring Ass Life, and I kept it for a whole year. And I kept it for I wrote about everything I did. The thing is, like, I don't know if I could do daily vlogging, but the daily blogging I liked. The vlogging is hard because, you know, you have to go out there and shoot stuff, but I liked vlogging. Or I liked blogging, and so that would be probably the most you would get at 10 years. You know. So you'd rather have a Star Wars Republic Commando movie than a Solo movie? Yeah. Oh hell yeah, dude. I just want them to remaster that game. Just put that game out on like current gen, man. I just want to play it again. It was so much fun. Why is everyone so obsessed with making a cinematic universe out of everything? Well, a lot of it boils down to. A couple things. One, if done right, it can be insanely profitable, not only in the box office, but in terms of merchandising. And merchandising is really where Disney and Warner's make a lot of their cash. I mean, if you think about it, just looking at Warner Brothers, for example, the top 2 selling pieces of merchandise is Batman and Harley Quinn. All right, look at the Cars movies. You want to know why we have so many fucking Cars movies? Because Cars 1, albeit a almost beat for beat ripoff of Doc Hollywood, had over $1 billion in merchandising. So Cars 2 and Cars 3 and Planes were done as a way to be a vehicle for merchandising. The original Transformers television show was created by Hasbro simply to sell the toys. So merchandising is why these things exist. And as a person who's wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt, I'm a bit of a whore, and I admit that. Vlog the next VidCon trying to see if you can shake the hands of Anita Sarkeesian. Nah, Anita's going to be in a tower surrounded by bodyguards and barbed wire. So, your buddy Daniel and you have a Midnight's Edge script sitcom planned with me being a reoccurring character only because you lost a bet. Wait, me being the recurring character, is that the punishment for losing the bet, or writing the script? I mean, either one is horrible, and I feel sorry for you, but still. Remake the old Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah, that'd be fun. I like the new Battlefront. It has its problems, but I still found the game to be a lot of fun. I mean, I'm better at that game than I'm better at PUBG. Holy crap, I was getting my ass handed to me on that today. So, I'm definitely on board to see what else comes down the pipeline from all that. All right. So I got to run. I'm hearing my daughter cry. I can do about 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes tops. With what you guys got the final questions, hit me up. Yeah, the new Turtle show looks terrible. I was looking at the artwork of that today. So the Lego movies are merchandising. The Lego movies are all merchandising. Holy God. So you'd like to see a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, dude. Everyone wants to see a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. I don't quite know why the hell they haven't turned that into a movie franchise. Give us the Revan series, and like fans would come out in droves. It would be like, I have a feeling we're going to get that at some point in time. Like, I have a feeling, I know Rian Johnson said he's not working on that, and I don't think he is, but I think that once they get past the Skywalker saga and they move on to something else, they're very much going to be focusing on some other stuff. Merchandising, where all the real money is made, of course. How do I feel about the new Heathers coming out? That trailer looked horrible. Like, is it a TV show, or is it a movie? Is it a miniseries? Like, I thought it told me the entire freaking thing. It was bad. You want your Boba Fett movie? Everyone does. You want a third Knights of the Old Republic? Yeah, totally. Get Obsidian on that. The best RPG makers out there right now. Get Obsidian. Jarbology, yeah. Jarbology will eventually be the name of one of my books. So Disney needs, I know Disney doesn't want to, but Disney freaking needs to. Kathleen Kennedy has got to like get some freaking sense knocked into her over that type of stuff. I'm not saying it's going to be, you know, I don't know, man. Okay. Yeah, I've got to run. The girl is crying. She's hungry. She wants her food. Are they still making a Hasbro Cinematic Universe? Actually, I forgot to cover that. Those have been like, it's in limbo right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Hasbro is not necessarily in the best place because of Transformers 5. That being said, I'd love to see a Battleship too. I really like Battleship. I know, sue me. But I'll be back on tonight around probably 9 or 10 p.m. on the main channel to do the show for tomorrow. And so if you guys want to come back, that'd be great. If not, I don't know if I'll do tomorrow streaming here. I'm gonna maybe try to do this Monday through Thursday, just because I don't know what kind of news is out. But if I'm home, I'll probably be on. So look for some stuff. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for coming by and hanging out.